Welcome Mohawk Sports to today's OCAA concerning the Midland State 06 in your Mohawk Mountaineers. Before we have to sign on, so just like to let you know that there is a Mohawk Mountaineers in what we're doing. Three points next, number 18, so fielder, from Six Ontario, 30 with 1. Batting second, number 12 pitch from Cleveland, Ontario, Clair Saints. Batting third, number 46, third baseman for the Province of Ontario, Jonathan Marchand. Batting fourth, number 17, shortstop for Minnesota, Ontario, Reese Rodman. Batting fifth, number 9, right fielder from Brampton, Ontario, Zelaya Jackson. Batting sixth, number 14, first baseman from Maple, Ontario, Lennon Hunter. Batting seventh for St. Paul, number 1, playing second base from South Ontario, Chloe Cole. Batting eighth, number 44, pitching from Eastern Ontario, Molly Smith. And finally, batting ninth, number 4, left fielder from South Ontario, Jane Foreman. Yes. Monkeys, your face, your dancing from 6 meters, Monday, Bunsen. Line 6, number 3, Ontario, 3 minutes. Line 7, number 22, first baseman for Northern Ontario, 20 Line 8, number 10, shortstop for Gabby, right now. In London, East, batting ninth. Number 9, Stephen Mason to Milton, Ontario, 950 senior. Winner is a player member of the Imperial Political Players Association and is member here with full-play policy of Goodwin Valley OCAA. Although full of slang and the game is truly returning to the main theater in sportsmanlike, range, and organic behaviors or style language during the match. Each period of the and sporting manual. Magnesium highlight plot is situated in the basal territory of the university. The immediate magnesium is in the way of the token, and the people police will walk on the agreement. The indigenous people should replace the what will. I'm asking if there's reason to read into the argument, but you're not ready, not right. What's good?
There's network years and the St. Clair Saints. In women's softball, I am your play-by-play commentator, Matt Jandrew, along with my color commentator, Harrison Myers. We're about ready to get things kicked off here. And Harrison, last time out, the Mohawk Mountaineers, they struggled a little bit. What did you think about their previous series?
Yeah, it was two games against a very tough opponent in the Humber Hawks. The first game I thought was their better performance. You know, they were up 2-0 early in the game, and at one point we're only down 6-4, but got away from them, and it's clear that the youth on this team uh did lose a little bit of energy by the second game. So they're looking to bounce back here. So far they're moving forward in the conference with a point against so they came up against St. Clair College for 4-2. We're on a two-game win streak.
Yeah, it's still pretty off of the big stories against both Princeton and Sterling. And they're sitting at 4-2 on the year. The now will be the receiver. Nothing really behind. Nothing is very relaxed. Okay. First up back will be Flash.
So far this season, batting 155, obviously 56 games, it's still pretty impressive.
Absolutely finishing it so far. Just been a big part of St. Clair's success.
Yes. We're ready for that.
Absolutely here to stay. I can really help sports back. This in the back. Ready?
I was pitching three down a little bit in the last two games, but want to see if they're able to bounce back here today.
Into five.
Talking to head coach Chris McClure, the first thing he told us 2 weeks ago was he doesn't like to lose, so he definitely is not happy with the results.
Certainly not. You know that it's not the start of the season. It's not really looking for it as we get to 20. People think the way forward. We'll start with the best. It's at the beginning of the leading story. Thinking that there's no more than let's have a perfect consistency set down in this young softball season. Next up, at bat, we have number 12, Cameron Pierce. First pitch,
Team so far batting 163 with
season for her so far. So get ready for the one pitch. And that one is just going to skip past stop. They now have runners on. This is not the life is looking for whether we can get a chance that nothing will hurt too early because we know that they're going to take their back and get up. Now we have number 46. It's basically my stand at the plate.
5 runs, 5 hits, and a 50.
One for the ball with a red in speed. No, we did not. The bases limit is just like everyone. You have to think this is not this material was it's not this way.
To make a good play, something the ball would go out of bounds after the ball would spun and stayed in bounds, and
Now with the bases loaded,
responded at the plate, batting 350. So definitely not someone you want to be against the bases.
is St. Clair scores a win. And they, once again, we'll have the bases loaded. Is it? It goes into the corner. That was Jimmy LaFleur coming in for the score for St. Clair.
Looking as you saw it, second base, midfielder didn't really make the decision there who wanted it.
Now Jackson flips that one into the outfield, and at least the runner to come in. Here comes the second, and St. Clair jumps out to an early 3-0 lead. And now we have the big bat for St. Clair. That's Ada Umera. She is leading all of OCAA with home runs with 2 so far in the season. So a dangerous hitter coming up here with Mohawk already down a couple of scores. And first pitch from LaForm. And that one is hit foul for ball 1. And here we come with the 1-0 pitch. Runner in the scoring position. And that's a strike, 1-1. LaForm's just going to settle in here, get the first out, and get this game going for the Mohawk Mountaineers. 1-1 pitch. It's fouled off. Two.
Just up high, not a bad pitch to throw there, looking for the strikeout.
Nope. Not a bad pitch at all. With a big hitter behind the plate. And that one's going to fly out. And Jazzy Martin is going to take care of that one as they get their first out.
Lagging.
And double play by Jazzy Martin tossing that in.
Playing.
Zoning the ones behind the plate. And now Mohawk is getting some momentum building here.
That's exactly what you needed. Yes, you gave up a few runs, but that gives some confidence back, and now there's 2 outs.
That's got some good poise, and they just need to start making positive plays and building their way out of the hole that they're already in here.
You move to the move your camera. Just kind
Now Molly says is behind the plate. That's a pitcher for St. Clair. Excuse me, that's Chloe Cole behind the plate.
Batting 375 so far this season.
And that one is going to fly out to right field, and unfortunately did not reel that one in as another St. Clair batter will come around. And that will be a solid for Chloe Cole at her first at-bat of the game. Now we have number 4 now. Molly Passil-Haas is at the plate.
The run did come in as well.
First pitch will be a ball. Counts 1-0. Ball 2. What's that 2-0? Mohawk looking for one more out just to get themselves out of this inning. That's already seen them down 4-0. And that one just squiggles past the form as St. Clair will go up 5-0.
Not the start the Mountaineers were looking for.
Certainly not. And that'll be strike 1.
I have to see this will be another test. Resilience.
Now
Mountaineers.
fouls off. Mohawk needs to take a deep breath here and really lock in on getting this out. They've got a runner on first base for St. Clair.
1-2 the count.
And that one's going to pop out to center field. As two St. Clair runners will come around. And we have another score from St. Clair, making it 6-0 for St. Clair. And this young Mohawk team is really being tested early. You're gonna have to really wonder how they can recover from this as the coach Chris comes out to speak with Ashley LaForme.
The pitching change here.
She's gonna come out of the game as number 12. Will come out to pitch. And you have to think they're just trying to get themselves out of this inning, which has been honestly a nightmare start for Mohawk so far.
Leah lefty, one of the most lefties we've seen for in the 4 games that we've commentated. Years down early as they were in their last game that they played against the Timberhawks.
Like we said, we have 10 freshmen on this Mohawk roster, so there's a lot of inexperience. The team is still gelling together, and they are going to have to find a way to limit these St. Clair bats, which honestly have been really hot coming out of the gate here this afternoon.
Everybody doesn't want to see defensive errors, and I want to see a few. Most of them have been ground balls through that no one can make a play on, but a few have been made.
Yeah, a couple unfortunate errors out in the outfield that led to a couple of scores, but honestly, I think all around they're just going to be looking to make something to build on, make a couple of good plays. They had a good double play to get themselves to 1 out away from getting out of this first inning, and I think they're going to need a little bit more of that. Zoom action here. Number 18, excuse me. Emma Purnell is going to dribble one out, and that will get moving out of the inning. Not an ideal start by any means, but they're going to have a chance to have a chat here, collect themselves.
We'll need a big bounce back here.
For sure. Looking at the St. Clair starting squad, we have Molly Felicius pitching today, Karen Coombs starting behind the plate. Ada Umera is going to be at first base, Chloe Cole at second base, Ashley Marchand at third base, Reese Grondin is going to be at shortstop, Judy LaFleur at center field, and we have Zaya Jackson at right field and Jane Foreman at left field today. That's 10 on their roster, so you have to think that's playing a factor in this early success that they're seeing in this game.
Definitely the confidence right out of the gate with the bats. You get, a quick 6 runs on some singles, some doubles, and a triple. So we'll have to see what the Mountaineers can do if they're able to bounce back. You'd love to see a few runs either way.
I think to keep themselves in this, they're going to need to put a couple of runs upon the board, build a little momentum, regain their confidence. You could see there was some emotion in the dugout there for the Mountaineers, especially Ashley LaForme, who honestly has been probably the best pitcher, pitched the most innings for this Mohawk squad so far. So, that is not the start she was looking for, but there's always time to bounce back.
Definitely.
And if you're just joining us, it's the bottom of the first. St. Clair jumped out to a big 6-0 lead in their first inning. As Mohawk will get their first chance at bat coming up. And it will be Judy LaFleur. First at bat here for Mohawk. Excuse me, leading off for the Mountaineers. Beamsville, Ontario product.
Made a lot of great plays in center against the Hawks.
And that one will dribble out to first base for the first out of the inning. It was out of Maryland. Really not winning for them. As Talia Henry will come to the plate.
She was the first one to score against the Hawks in the first game that gave the Mountaineers the 1-0 lead.
Should be looking for more of the same here. And she's going to didn't quite let that one out. As Umara using the pitch to the second out. Maggie lifting. Right.
Seemed like Henry on that swing was a bit indecisive with whether bunting or swinging, so it looked a bit like a check swing.
It did look a bit like a check, but it did find its way out there for an easy out, unfortunately, for St. Clair. And their Mohawks will be looking for any kind of juice. After Maggie looking back, that's ball win. Maggie Lupton out of Salt Fleet District High School. And that is the run. The count is now 1-1. One pitch. That one's going to dribble out to the infield, and that will wrap up the first inning here. Not what Mohawk was looking for, unfortunately. A really well pitched inning there from Molly Kalichis for St. Clair.
3 groundouts for the Mountaineers, 2 going to second. Very well hit balls, so definitely not what they were looking for. And now they have to go up against St. Clair bats once again.
So far. Another one that these St. Clair pitchers into some deeper pitch counts. There was only maybe 9-10 pitches thrown in that whole inning. So fatigue is going to be a factor on both sides, and they're just going to need to find a way to build some momentum here. So they're still down 6-0 to 7.
They will stay on the mound for the Mountaineers. She did retire the only batter she faced in the last inning.
Rightfully one of the only veterans in the squad. She's a third year. He's going to look to bring some of that poise to the mound as they look for any sort of positive here. But you know this team is going to be together for a few years. These early tests, they're very character building. Even if the score gets a little ugly, you have to think they have to find a way to come together as a team, and it's a good growing opportunity. You know, this game's not from everyone in the second inning, but Sheffield Wednesday St. Clair, so they're just going to need to find some sort of positive to build on.
Definitely. And a lot of credit to the Mountaineers and Rachel. Even in the last game when they were down, she was still driving everyone over infielders, keeping the vibes as good as possible. So
And that's how you build culture, even when you're struggling early in the year like the Hive. It is a way to bring the team together. As the first pitch of the inning comes in, that's going to be ball 1.
Throws at the plate. She singled to center with the first at bat.
Next is inside. It's still 1. A 1-1 pitch. Is smooth on for strike 2. For now at a count of 1-2. Lee looking for her first strikeout of the game. And that one's going to fly out to left field.
It's gone.
And that one is gone. Yes. With a single side home run to make it 7-0 for St. Clair.
You look like 250 feet in the back.
That was a well hit ball. Lee had a He stopped that at bat, but Coombs made solid contact.
That one just kept going. It looked like a fly ball. She hit it so well, going and going, and literally landed right on the 250 fence.
It did. Now coming up to the plate for St. Clair, number 26, Ashley Marchand. Rachel Lee's going to look to recover with ball one.
It's not a bad at bat from Rachel Lee in that pitching.
No. Caught Coombs swinging on one and looking on another, so she's got to keep her head up. As that one flies out to center field. And Marchand will look for two, if not three. And she'll have to settle for a double. And St. Clair is letting Mohawk hear it from their dugout as they are hyped with the early success in this game.
It looked like center fielder Genevieve Fry could almost make that play, but she just was not in reach.
Just a nick out of reach there. The 1-0 pitch flies back out to center field, and Fry looks like and she just misses it. She goes over the netting there. You can't say there was a lack of effort on that one, but now St. Clair has runners in scoring position. Now number 9. Nine Jackson at the plate with runners in scoring position. And ball one from Rachel Lee.
She had a 2-run double in the last inning.
We have ball two. The count is now 2-0. Rachel Lee with the 2-0 pitch. And that one's fouled way off for strike one. Way into the crowd there. Hopefully no one was on the business end of that. And Jackson watches ball 3.
Lee almost got her to chase there with the check swing, but it was just too outside.
The 3-1 count. And that'll be the first walk of the game as the bases are now loaded for Rachel Lee. And the pressure is back on. This is the second time in the game as Ada Umera is going to come out. And like I said, she came into the game leading all of OCAA with home runs. So not a position you want her to be in. As she swings one out to right field, and at least one runner will come in. And that'll be 2 runners. As Reese Grondin also came in. And that was a 2-run single for Ada Umera, adding to her RBI total for the game. As we called at the plate, strike one was looked at there, 1-0 count.
She had a triple and scored a run.
And that one's going to go to the stop as Mohawks getting their first out there. That was well handled by Renee Bork. And now Molly Hasselhaas is at the plate. Had a great inning pitching last inning for St. Clair. And strike one. Washed. So Rachel Lee is looking to get out of another troubling spot. And that one's also going to get out to Bork.
Wow.
Oh, wow. And Umera is safe as another runner came in for St. Clair on that one. Almost in a double play, getting Mohawk out of the inning. And St. Clair's up 9-0 now.
Get close to the mercy rule.
Mohawk is going to need to keep their head up and keep focused as St. Clair keeps piling on the runs. And ball one count is now 1-0. Dane Foreman at the plate now for St. Clair. Otto Marin in scoring position here. And ball 2 for the 2-0 count.
It's a really tough start for the Mountaineers here.
It really is. Like we've been saying all day, there's a lot of youth on the squad, and this is the learning curve at the college level. Is that one dribbles past? Back at the shortstop position, and Umera will come in for the 10-0 run. St. Clair has now put up double-digit runs against Mohawk in just 2 innings.
Very good effort from Bork, diving, but just not enough.
And Mohawk has had a couple of valiant efforts in the infield and outfield, but haven't quite come up with a big play yet. As we get to strike 1 with Rudy LaFleur, the leadoff hitter, back at the plate. Rachel Lee with the 1-1 pitch there, making the ball. St. Clair's bench still being very vocal, cheering on their players. And that one will dribble out to Lee. We'll get the 3rd out of the game, of the inning, excuse me. And Mohawk will survive. Although they are in dangerous position to be mercy ruled here. Hopefully we don't see that.
Yeah,
As there's still plenty of time to score a couple of runs, build some good momentum.
yeah, it happened once against the Humber Hawks. It happened in the second game, not the first game. So we'll have to see as Coach Chris McCall comes to talk to his team. Principal position for Coach right now.
And you have to wonder what the message being said. Obviously, you just want to hold your head up. I mean, this is a really solid St. Clair squad they're facing right now. There's no shame in it, but you have to stay with one play at a time, I think is the strategy, and just find a way to build any kind of momentum because right now it has been all St. Clair in all phases of the game.
Gonna show some pride here for the Mountaineers. Try to get some runs, get some hits, get some longer at bats, and it only takes one.
Hassel Hass is not going for St. Clair. He had a solid first inning, giving up no hits. Running up easily big home run in the second inning there.
That is the furthest home run we've seen here at the Mohawk Sports Bar.
It almost flew over the second fence into Carstar Field out there, as it was very well hit by Coombs.
You got a pitcher versus pitcher matchup again. We saw it the other way, and now we see it.
So Rachel Lee on this Mohawk roster. Looks to get this top of the second inning started off well.
It's probably the batter Chris McCall would love, a veteran to be up in this position, down 10-0.
She will walk ball 1. Castle Haas. 1-0 count. No pitch from Castle Haas is fouled on. Counts now 1-1. Mohawks bench sounding a little bit louder after that little team discussion. And that'll be ball 2.
Good count here for Lee.
2-1 count this is what they need to do. Get deeper into these pitch counts and get a walk. Just do anything to get on base. Build some momentum. Castle has 2-1 pitch. Is swung on and missed for strike 2. And ball three as we're now at full count here.
Very good at bat from Rachel Lee.
Very good. Should be looking for something positive here as Castle Haas will dial up her best pitch for full count here. And the first Mohawk batter will get on base as Rachel Lee walks at the top or the bottom of the second inning.
It's the veteran experience right there, not facing that pitch. Could have easily swung on and missed on that high fastball, but she held off, and now the Mountaineers their first base runner.
First base runner Jazzy Martin at the plate. She made the best defensive play of the second inning for the Mountaineers. Her first at bat of the game. And she watches ball one.
A lot of balls being thrown here, and the Mountaineers not chasing, which is a very, very good sign.
Castle Haas looking like she wants to get some big swings, but no bites yet. As that one flies out to left field. And we'll get two Mountaineer runners on base. It was number 17, Reese Brown, not able to come down with that fly ball. As Zoe Lorenz comes to the plate for the Mountaineers. And if you're Chris McCall, you have to like
A sign of life.
sign of life from your squad here as they're building on some good at-bats. Lorenz at the plate. And she fouls off the first pitch.
No out still, runners second and first. First mistake made by St. Clair. Let's see if Mohawk can capitalize off of that.
Should be looking for any kind of contact with runners in scoring position here. Ooh. And the 1-1 pitch is a ball.
Big moment for the Mountaineers here to get back into this game.
Even chopping this lead down by a run or two mentally can do a lot for the team. As Castle Haas takes a full ball off the knee and she looks to be in quite some discomfort. That was a direct shot to the knee. And I hope Castle Haas is okay as the team trainer's coming out there. That was a line drive directly to her knee. You could hear it from up here. That was not good, and she is still down.
Lucky for both teams there. Obviously, Castle House starting pitcher getting hit, but that would have probably been a single if it were a play for her to make.
Likely. If she got the ball, she could have gotten the first, and she's up there. See if she stays in the game, but that's a good sign that she's on her feet. She looks like she's going to stay in the game. And that's some real great from Castle House, who, like I said, took a line drive directly to the kneecap. Seems to be no worse for wear, though, thankfully. So we have number 22 for Mohawk on deck. That's Taylor McRae waiting for her first at bat. Castle Haas is all good and getting high fives from her infielders there.
Very good sign.
Everyone's relieved she's okay.
1 out, runners second and third.
I think lost in that was that Mohawk did have a runner come in to score, so they are on the board. Ball one.
Okay, thank you, Ivan.
Castle Haas with the pitch. Makes the count 2-0.
Actually, it was not a runner that came in. They got the out at first.
Excuse me. I guess the advanced runners, though, so we're still at 10-0.
11-0 actually.
11-0.
So this is the game, I think, right here. If the Mountaineers do not score some runs and cut the lead from at least less than 10 runs, this game will be over.
It would be a disappointing way to end game number 1, but nevertheless, there's still hope with McCray at the plate.
Shows bunt. Chris McCulloch telling her seeing the ball well, wants a big swing.
Another strike thrown there. Caught McCray watching that one, and we have full count. As you said, Harrison, this is the game right here. Castle Haas looking to round this one out as this one pops out to right, and it drops. And now Mohawk will have their first runner come home. And that's Rachel Lee, the vet, who, like we had predicted, is generating some positive momentum for this squad. A solid veteran presence on the team.
Runners on the corners with 1 out.
Renell Bork on the plate. As Mountaineers are showing some signs of life. As their bench is starting to get into it. And Bork's going to take some time here. She wants to really dial in. This is her first at bat of the game. And then Bork watches in. 1-0 is the best. With runners on the corners, he's going to be looking to get any kind of contact here and sneak a couple more runs out of this inning. 1-0 pitch. He is going to dribble out to second. Come in, but I think they're. Oh no, excuse me, both legged that one out. So just the 1 out, and Mohawk will stay alive in the inning. Here's Stevens coming to the plate. Mohawk has found the first couple of runs for them.
It's now 11-2 with 2 outs, runner on first.
Ball 1 from Castle Haas. Here, Stevens is getting some signals from Coach Chris McCall. Ball 2. No swings yet from Kara Stevens. Been a lot of early balls in these at-bats from Castle Haas.
Mountaineers have looked at a few too many strikes probably for Chris McCall's liking after these early balls.
2-0 pitch. And that one's going to flush.
Just a late swing. If she'd swung a little bit earlier, who knows where that ball would have ended up.
It sounded like good contact, but like you said, just a little bit late there.
Still favorable count, 2-1 for Pierce Stevens.
Genevieve Fry on deck if they can get a hit here. Ball 3. Or a walk, perhaps. As the Mountaineers are looking at 2 outs. 3-0 count for
Much
Pierce
better throwing here.
Much better showing, for sure.
Long counts. He's good at bats.
You have to think early in the game, maybe the adrenaline running's a little high for this young team. They seem to have settled down. It's not one to foul off for straight 2 and they're full count.
Another full count, another great at bat. Let's see if Pierce Stevens will take the walker, get it into play.
You have to think any way on base for them right now is a success. Umpire reminding Castle Haas what the count is there, and that one's going to dribble out to the third baseman, who will handled that one easily. That was number 26, Ashley Martin, making the throw. The inning is over. That's the end of the second inning. But if you are Mohawk, you survived. You kept this game going, and I think there was a lot of positives to build on. I don't think you can hang your head too much because you escaped.
Yep, you escape, and now you're gonna have to escape once again. Cannot allow another run. You're gonna have to go back up the bat and get some more runs to make this game even closer.
And if you're Richley, I think you're going to want a couple of quick outs here. You don't want to be out there too long. You want to end this one quickly, this top of the third inning. If you're just joining us, like I said, it's the top of the third. We're currently a score of 11-2 in favor of St. Clair. Mohawk had a rough first defensive inning, giving up 9 runs, but they've recovered since and showed some signs of life in the bottom of that second inning with 2 runs.
Realistically, I mean, if the first inning had gone a little bit better, we could be looking at
Really kind of a 2-2 game. And like we said, a little bit frazzled. Instead of a few errors in the outfield and the infield, pickleballs eking past the gloves of these Mohawk Mountaineer defenders, but they looked much stronger in that second inning, and they'll hope to get even better as they have a little team meeting there at the mound with Rachel Lee. Jazzy Martin made a stellar play at second base there for the Mountaineers in the second inning. Rachel Lee's first pitch is fouled off by number 12 Cameron Coombs, who had a big hit, a big home run in that second inning for St. Clair.
solo shot to lead dead center.
And another big hit, but I think this one's just going to pop out to right field, where it's handled nicely by Jackson. No trouble there. Ashley Marshall at the plate now for St. Clair. Strike one. Rachel Lee. That one is just going to eke past Jazzy Martin as go for a single. That's Ashley Marchand getting on base. Strike one thrown by Rachel Lee there.
Reese Grondin already has a double in her last at bat.
She's been good behind at the plate, excuse me, so far in the game. As that one will dribble out to left field.
That was hit very hard.
Very hard. No, dribble was quite an apt term I used there. It was a little bit harder than that. Obviously, too much for third baseman to handle. Jackson at the plate now for St. Clair.
Chance here for the Saints to again put the Mountaineers in mercy rule territory.
And that one's fouled off. Runner on first and second for St. Clair. With Jackson at the plate. Ball's thrown there by Rachel Lee.
Still one out in the inning.
And Jackson is going to flip one out there to left field as at least one runner is going to come in for St. Clair. It's number 26, Ashley Marchand.
Lucky as that ball was just hit over head of the shortstop in her glove.
Now, Ada Umera, who's had a solid game at first base and at the plate, is going to come up. She's had a couple of home runs already this season. She'll be looking to wrap this game up if she can. She watches ball one from Rachel Lee.
We're looking at now Mohawk are in mercy rule territory is 12-2 for the Saints.
And that's ball two with a 2-0 count. I don't think Rachel Lee wants to give O'Mara too much to look at here, as she knows she's a dangerous hitter. And O'Mara sails one out to left field. That one's handled nicely.
For the second out,
It's Talia Henry coming down.
seemed as she just got under that one, but that was a scary pitch right there.
It was, and it looked scary initially. Excuse me, that was actually Maggie Lupton coming down with the catch. Left field. And Jazzy Martin just misses that one, as St. Clair has the bases loaded. Solid base hit from Chloe Cole. And Molly Campbell, who took a ball to the knee at the mound in the last inning, is at bat, and she watches strike one from Rachel Lee with the bases loaded for St. Clair.
It's a really big moment for the Mountaineers if they want to continue this game for Lee to get this out.
And that one's in the dirt for ball one. 1-1 count. And there's going to be a timeout here, as looks like the ump is just going to clean off some of the dirt.
Seems like these junior pitchers have struggled with some of these pitches getting too much plate.
It's been in the dirt a couple times. A 1-1 pitch. This is on the outside.
Feels like they can't find their spots if it's either too low or it's perfectly down the middle for these hitters.
It's been hard to find room in the strike zone. Let's see what happens on this 1-1 pitch. Jazzy Moon's going to get that. And they'll get the second out. The run does come in. Excuse me.
The runner will not count play, so it's good. Now it's only
Good. Saves the game, actually, for the Mohawk.
another really good inning from the Mountaineers. One run allowed.
One run around. If like we said, taking out that first inning, we're looking at a 3-2 game for St. Clair still, but the bad start. They have recovered well. They're still struggling a little bit in the outfield, a couple of missed plays, but overall much better since that first inning.
You can easily see if the bats go off here and you get like 6 to 8 runs, 9 runs, that this is easily a brand new game with how these last 2 innings defensively have gone.
Easily. As we head into the bottom of the third, Hasselhaus still at the mound for St. Clair. She's played decently well, though.
We had a whole lot to do.
Not a whole lot to do. A couple of walks, a couple of base hits. But overall, it's played solid. Umera's had a good game at first base so far.
This is the mercy rule inning if the Mountaineers don't at least get 1 run. We're looking for anything to build on, especially as we will have another game after this one. So, any positive, get your bats ready. You know, you're looking at pitches and the pitcher that you might see in the next game eventually.
You may, and you know that you're going to have a chance to right all the wrongs. If there were mistakes made in the first game, well, you're going to have an immediate opportunity to overturn those and really show what this team is made of mentally, as number 5 for Mohawk, Kennedy Free, comes to the plate.
Handed out in her first at bat.
These batters will be relatively fresh as this only the second go around through the batting order, and St. Clair's had a number of rounds through there, so still lots of power in these swings. As Fry will get set here. And strike one as Fry thought about bunting on Castellass's first pitch, but we'll just watch that one go for strike one. Ball one, 1-1 count as Fry does not bite on that high pitch. Way outside of the zone.
Chris McCall cheering her on, knowing that this could be it.
Genevieve Fry. Oh, and there was a bit of an error by Umera at first base, but nevertheless, she recovers, and Talia Henry is
Not a bad swing at all, just
Well.
right to the first basewoman there and one out.
Henry at the plate now with Jazzy Martin, I believe, on deck. Or Maggie Lupton, excuse me, on deck.
Final 2 outs for the Mountaineers.
Unless, of course, they make something happen and this game will go on. But you know the pressure's on every inning with your back up against the wall like this. And a solid bit of contact will fly out to left field, but that will be handled nicely by Jane Foreman out there in the outfield. No troubles with that one.
Seems like her going for the bunt initially is what leads to her not getting a hit there. She did not able.
Didn't get quite the force that she had to recoil and then reload that swing. Maggie Lupton at the plate now.
The last chance for the Mountaineers.
Castle Haas will load up her first pitch, and that'll be watched for strike one. Chris McCall with more words of encouragement. So Maggie Lupton will look for some contact here. She watches strike two.
I looked a bit outside on that
A
one.
bit outside, but ref thought it was caught the inside corner.
1-2, this is it.
Maggie Lupton looking to keep the game alive, and she'll foul that one off, and this at bat will go on. Castle Haas looking to get them out of this game early after just 3 innings. And that one will find its way into the outfield, and Maggie Lupton with a huge single. As Mohawk has some life, ref's going to call time again just to clean off that home plate. And Rachel Lee, who started the offense for Mohawk last inning, got a run in, one of their 2 runs.
And a very great at bat with a walk.
And she is going to try to extend this game as well with 2 outs. Castle Haas loads up her first pitch. And that's a ball. 1-0's the count.
She has great plate discipline. Rachel Lee, as we saw in the last at bat, doesn't chase many
Nope.
pitches.
And that one rose a little bit. You could have easily had a bite on that, but she is a vet, like we've said, in her 3rd year. Out of Drayton, Ontario. And she has a solid hit that will be caught. And that will end the inning. And it looks like this one will continue as we head to the bottom of the top of the fourth, excuse me.
I think the Mountaineers have a chance to end the mercy if by the 5th inning.
By the 5th inning. All right.
Not a bad swing by Lee there, just right at the center fielder again.
Solid contact, looked good coming off the bat, but just didn't quite have the distance. Would have liked to see it maybe drop a little earlier or sail over the head of that center fielder, but not quite. And Rachel Lee will come back to the mound.
She had a really good 2 innings there.
Very good 2 innings, as unfortunately, even getting them out of that scary first inning, the 9-run inning that they chased LaForme out of the game with. She has been solid since, and a real calming presence to this team. Mohawk didn't quite get a run, but they still had some positive offensive plays in that 3rd inning. I think they're just going to have to clean up a little bit of their infield play if they want to. There's been a lot of great efforts. Jazzy Martin at second base has been all over the place. You can see her jersey is covered in sand from diving all over the place, but just missed by a hair here and there, and has led to some extended innings as number 4 for St. Clair is at the plate. That's Jane Foreman. Rachel Lee getting ready for the first pitch. And that one is going to find its way through the glove of Rachel Lee, as she would have loved to have that and started off with a quick out, but Foreman will get a single. Bit of an error there by Rachel Lee, unfortunately.
So 10 runs after 5 complete innings will be the mercy rule.
Alrighty, so now we have that cleared up. So a 10-run lead. They have another inning to try and close, well, another 2 innings for Mohawk's batters to try to close the gap. And a big hit out to center field is handled nicely.
Very nice catch.
Very nice catch by Judy LaFleur out there. Or sorry, excuse me, that was Judy LaFleur with the hit. But Genevieve Fry handled that one well. Number 12 for St. Clair. Cameron Zooms, the home run hitter in the game, is at the bat. And she'll watch ball 1 from Rachel Lee.
That was one of the few actual bad pitches Lee has thrown in all 3 of the innings she's completing. She's pitched.
And she was watching number 4, Jane Foreman, as Coombs with another big hit. And that's another home run. That's her 2nd of the game for the 2-run home run. Coombs has been a hot bat today, and she's going to actually probably put herself right at the top of the leaderboard in all of OCAAs for home runs with that one. A single shot in the 2nd, and now a 2-run home run in the 4th.
Very unlucky for Lee there, who's had a really great outing here.
She's going to have to keep her composure, as she has still pitched a very solid game. St. Clair's number 26. That's Ashley Marchand, who hits a big ball out to right field, and a catch. The ball was going to be a foul, but the right fielder out there, Jackson, came down, or excuse me, Makowicz came down with that one. Strike 1 from Rachel Lee. Caught Reese Grondin watching that one. 0-1 pitch is hit out. Handled nicely. As Mohawk, despite a 2-run shot with another solid inning, I would say, they haven't been caught out with one of these, 7, 8, 9-run innings like they did in the first, which would have put this one way, way out of reach. Although it seems like a big gap, they're still well within keeping this game alive, and with a couple of runs, you could be putting the pressure back on St. Clair.
It's 14-2 now after that 2-run shot. But yeah, as you said, I mean, Lee's allowed, I think, 4 runs in 3 innings, which is not bad at all.
Considering how the game started, you have to look at that as a victory, and they're gonna need to a couple of runs at least in the next 2 innings to keep us alive as we sorted out the ruling on the mercy rules here.
I think that's what the umpire's talking about right now. Yeah, 5 runs allowed by Lee in 4 innings of pitching. I mean, not bad at all. That is, with most of them just being home runs.
And it looks like we're having a new pitcher at the mound for St. Clair as Hasselhass's day will be done, and Kiesling will come in. That's Emma Kiesling, a freshman out of Essex, Ontario. She's going to get the warm up here. Bottom of the 4th inning coming up. 14-2 is the score if you're just joining us for St. Clair, as Mohawk had a difficult start, giving up 9 runs in the 1st inning, but they have since made a little bit of progress coming back, only giving up 5 runs across the next 3 innings.
Still waiting for those bats to really arrive here.
Yep, we've seen players get on with a couple of walks,
Some hits.
some hits, some couple of errors made by St. Clair, left some players get on base. They haven't had a real solid bit of contact, I would say, yet, but they have managed to score a couple of runs, so scoring by any means necessary is always good. And Mohawk's number 15 is coming up to the plate. That's Jaslyn Martin, or Jazzy Martin. Kiesling will get her first pitch of the game here. It's loading up. And that one's going to be pretty well outside of the strike zone for a 1-0 count. Kiesling with her second pitch. Again, well outside the strike zone for the 2-0 count.
Another good at bat coming in here from the Mountaineers, this time from Martin. And she capitalized now. 2-0 hitters count.
Jazzy Martin, a second-year player for the Mountaineers. And that's going to be a 3-0 count. Solid discipline.
Great patience coming from her. Now she has the 3-0. Definitely the green light here from head coach Chris McCall to get a big swing in.
We'll see if the Burlington, Ontario product here can, or the Six Nations product, excuse me, can get a solid hit. And ball 4, Jazzy Martin will not get a swing off in that at bat and find her way to first base, and they'll take that.
Great discipline from her. I mean, she could tell it was going inside and didn't rush it. Takes the quick 4 pitches, walk.
And Kiesling, the freshman, has just thrown 4 straight balls, so she's going to be looking to get some sort of bite here as
5 straight balls.
Zoe Lawrence is now at the plate for the Mountaineers, and that's, as you said, Harrison, the 5th straight ball. Not much activity for these infielders and outfielders yet in this bottom of the 4th inning. Kiesling with the 1-0 pitch. That'll be her first strike. Looked a little outside, but obviously caught part of the strike zone as we get the 1-1 count. Her first strike.
Love that from Lorenz, not swinging, waiting for the first strike to be thrown.
Force her to get one in the strike zone as that one hits the dirt for a 2-1 count. Kiesling looking for her first out of the game as she is just relieved Castle Haas, who pitched a solid 3 innings. And some good contact as that one's going to find its way out to right field. And we've got a couple of runners on from Mohawk. We've seen this play out in the last couple of innings, but as Taylor McRae comes to the plate, they're going to need to get at least 2 runners in here, I think, to really give themselves a chance to stay alive. Because you know St. Clair, they've had no answer. Mohawk has had no answer for St. Clair's bats yet.
Big spot for McRae.
Taylor McRae sends one out.
They will get
As
the
they
force
make
out at third.
Force out at third, but McRae does find her way to first base. Bork at the plate now. So they're hoping to test this freshman pitcher for St. Clair. We'll see what Bork has to offer. Oh, as that one fouls up in our area. Making sure we're still awake here. For the 0-1 count. Kiesling, 0-1 pitch. And that one is going to sneak its way into the outfield.
Score a run.
And a run should come in here. Yes.
And the runners
As
will
Zoe Lorenz and runners will advance further into scoring position. Zoe Lorenz coming in. And Bork's going to have a nice RBI there. And life for the Mountaineers once again. That is exactly what they needed.
is exactly how they scored the first run against Humber in the first game. It was stole a base and a mistake as the ball went right past the second basewoman, and they were able to go home.
Pierre Stevens is going to look to keep this momentum going. As Kiesling is going to have to try to keep her composure, giving up a run in her first inning here in the game. Oh, and that one is going to dribble again out into the outfield as at least 1, maybe 2 runners coming in for Mohawk. And there we go. Just like that, 3 runs scored in the inning. And Mohawk looks alive as Renee Bork and Taylor McRae coming in for the run. As Pierre Stevens picks up 2 more RBIs on the day.
Now we're back to the top of the order with the Mountaineers finding form. 14-5, only down 9.
And just like that, and if, like we keep saying, you erase that first inning, we would be at a tie game now. Obviously, you can't rewrite history, but it's something to look at. Obviously, a tough start, but they've really clawed their way back into this game. And
A runner in scoring position,
runners in scoring
1
position,
out.
1 out. Genevieve Fry thinking about a bunt there, but she will have to take strike 1. Kayla Makowicz will be on deck next. Genevieve Fry will watch one hit the dirt. And Pierre Steven will get...
Wow.
And she will be safe. And Pierre Stevens has just made a big play.
Amazing base running. If you missed it, she knew she would have gotten tagged if she had slid in with her feet. Instead, she used her arm to tag the base.
And she outmaneuvered the third baseman Marchand there. And that was a huge play as she is already had 2 RBIs and now a stolen base as Pierre Stevens is playing a phenomenal inning. And they'll take a little time here. Genevieve Fry is going to look to...
There's a couple groundouts today.
Couple of groundouts. She's going to look to break that streak. Oh, and that one real high. And Pierre Stevens thought about stealing home there for a second, but thought the better of it. As that one flew way over the head of Fry. And if you're Kiesling, you're going to really want to get into a rhythm here and get yourself out of a troubling spot as you've already given up 3 runs. Thrown a few good pitches though. And a solid hit by Fry. That will fall into the outfield, and Kiera Stevens will come in. Genevieve Fry with a double, and just like that, the Mohawk Mountaineers are showing that they are far from out of this game, as we're now sitting at a score of 14-6.
Some great resilience. I mean, a young team and didn't give up.
Credit to Coach Chris McCall for keeping his team grounded, keeping their heads in the game, and just like that, they're creeping their way in, and Emma Kiesling's going to get a little chat. Maybe a pitching change here as she's struggled a little bit in her first inning of the game.
Thrown a lot of
Freshman,
balls.
throwing a lot of balls. She came out with 5 straight balls. That ended up biting her as there was a couple of 2-run plays, a 1-run play, and now a runner in scoring position yet again.
Only down 8, still only 1 out. If you're one of the Mountaineers batters, you know she's throwing a lot of balls. She just got a pep talk. She's probably going to throw a lot more strikes. So I'd get that bat ready.
Talia Henry is the Grand Valley, Ontario, excuse me, product is at the plate. Another freshman on this Mohawk Mountaineers roster.
The dugout's starting to get loud.
They are getting into it, and a little time is going to be taken. And like you said, that Mohawk dugout is a lot louder, and St. Clair is a little bit more subdued as they were earlier in the game. As the momentum starts to even out, and she's looking for a bunt. And strike 1 will be called. 0-1 is the count now. As Kiesling is going to look to get her first strikeout, perhaps. And that one is going to go fair. Oh,
Slow roller.
but that one, the slow rollers, and Talia Henry legs that one out. Not a problem for her. Showing good speed. It's been good base running this inning from the Mohawk
Great
Mountaineers.
base running, great discipline. I think the runner on second there kind of psyched out the shortstop. She had her eyes seeing as she would go to third, and by the time she looked back to first base, long safe was Henry.
And just like that, 2 runners on.
Maggie Lupton.
Maggie Lupton had a good at bat last time up, but she'll watch ball 1.
It's a great take right there. I mean, what an inning from the Mountaineers is, again, only 1 out. You've already scored 4 runs. You got runners on second and first.
And a chance to really get themselves back in this game if they can keep the runs coming. Oh. And we have a 1-1 count. Is that one? Similar spot, but catches the inside of the strike zone for Kiesling. Lupton is going to be sitting at a 1-1 count now. And we get ball 2.
Amazing discipline from the Mountaineers batters. They can tell Kiesling feeling the pressure a little bit with
Looking
these
a little
balls.
frustrated out there. You're right. She's looked like she's kind of struggled to find her spots this inning. Like we said, a lot of balls to the outside, especially like you just saw right there, ball 3.
Another great at bat from the Mountaineers. I mean, no one trying to make a hero play, going for
No.
a big swing, taking pitches.
And if we get a walk here, the Mountaineers will have the bases loaded for their first time of the game. As Kiesling is staring down a 3-1 count. I have to think a swing, excuse me, is unlikely here. Oh, I stand corrected as that one pops out to center field, and an error is going to bring at least 1 Mohawk runner in.
Wow.
Wow. As Genevieve Fry brings in another run for the Mohawk Mountaineers in the bottom of this 4th inning.
Lead is now cut in half. It is
Cut in
14-7.
Cut in half. That's still a lot of work to do, and looks like St. Clair head coach Dwayne Dawson is going to come out, and I have to imagine there's going to be a bit of a pitching change, although maybe just, yeah. He's going to have to stop the bleeding here as Chris McCall is going to give some words of advice to his leader, Rachel Lee there.
Great inning here from the Mountaineers.
Great inning. This is
Great
exactly what they
at-bats.
needed. Even if they don't come all the way back, putting up this kind of effort is really good for the whole team morale.
It just boosts confidence for the next game. There's another game, so you take this all, this is great.
It's great. It's terrific. You're building up some momentum. You got Rachel Lee coming up, one of your vets. You got a runners on the corners.
Still only one out.
And it looks like number 2 for St. Clair. That is Dana Juarez. She's actually leading the team in ERA, strikeouts, and innings pitched for St. Clair. She's had a real solid start to her season. We're wondering when we might see her come in. Maybe not till the second game, a little earlier than they would have liked, but nevertheless, she is here now.
Probably feeling it a little bit. As we said, the dugout was a lot more quieter.
Quieter. They had been very vocal. Obviously, lost to cheer about in the early 4 innings, but Mohawk really has silenced them with great plate discipline, great base running, good fundamental baseball. As Juarez is going to warm up.
We'll have to see if Lee can continue the inning. Against a new pitcher, always tough for the first batter up, as with Juarez's experience, I'm going to assume there's going to be a lot more strikes thrown.
Yeah, like I said, she is leading the team in strikeouts. So she's going to look to continue that success as she gets ready for her first pitch. Rachel Lee at the plate. Runners on the corners. Ball 1, watched by Lee. And Mohawk is quite happy to let these St. Clair pitchers get deep into their pitch counts. They chased Kiesling out of the game, and they'll be happy to do the same to Juarez if they can. Ooh, ball 2, high at the head of Rachel Lee.
You'll have to wonder if the ball that Casillas got into her leg, the starting pitcher for St. Clair, was what took her out of the game, because I'm surprised they did take her out.
She was playing solid. I mean, couple runs here and there, and she did have an at bat following that pitch to the knee, but she did not return. Ball 3, and just the same way Kiesling came into the game with, I think it was 5 straight balls.
Second base was also stolen, didn't even
Oh,
realize.
that was so sneaky.
Maggie
We didn't even
Lupton.
see that happen. Maggie Lupton, and just the base running continues. Chris McCall calling a great game, and now we will have. Oh, sorry, that one is called a strike. Looked a little outside to me, but a 3-1 count now.
Lee will take that all the way.
She will. I mean,
She wants to get on base here.
I imagine she'll watch this one as well, but unless Juarez leaves something juicy down the middle. And that one pops up. Juarez makes the catch nice and easy. Not a problem there as the second out for Mohawk. But they are deep into this inning. I mean, they've had almost all of their batters come up, and time is called here as McCall wants a word with the umpire about something. They're looking in, reviewing something.
Pinch hitter here.
Pinch hitter here. That's what the discussion is. As Katie O'Toole comes in, as Chris McCall knows that they need to keep this going with runners at second and third.
Definitely want to score these 2 runners here. You don't want to leave them stranded.
Juarez throws that one well outside for the 1-0 count. Katie O'Toole getting cheered on emphatically by her Mountaineer teammates in the dugout. Oh, and a big swing. Big swing from O'Toole makes it 1-1. 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. Juarez with the 1-1 pitch. Well up and inside near the head of O'Toole there for the 2-1 pitch. Katie O'Toole at the plate.
Pinch hitter. Big
Pinch hitter,
moment.
big moment. Second-year player for this Mountaineer squad. Fouls one off into the crowd. And it sounds like her mom may have gotten a bit of contact. I think everyone's okay out in the field, or maybe just gave her mom more of a scare than anything else. Her teammates letting her know who found business end of that foul. 1-2 is the count. Juarez with the pitch. In a big swing. I think Katie O'Toole was really looking for contact out there, and we get a strikeout. Juarez came in and handled, I would say, fairly well. Got them out of that inning. Back-to-back batters were retired. A pop out, and then from Rachel Lee, and then Katie O'Toole struck out.
The first swinging strikeout of the game. I think the first strikeout in general.
I think so. I think so. And like I said, Juarez leading the team with strikeouts, so that's going to add to her total.
Not a bad inning though from the Mountaineers.
Not at all. I think whatever happens the rest of their game, that is going to be huge for the team's mentality going into the second half of this doubleheader and into the second half of this game as we head to the top of the fifth. Rachel Lee still at the mound. She's been in there since the end of the first inning, where LaForme was chased out of the game after 9 runs given up. Only 5 given up since then by Rachel Lee.
5-run inning from the Mountaineers right there.
Very solid.
Cut the lead completely in half. Now only down 7.
Still a big deficit to overcome, but 7 is a lot better than 11. So what can you say? Great show of mental fortitude by this young, very inexperienced Mountaineers team at the college level anyway. But they are showing a lot of heart, showing a lot of grit. Not much more you can ask for is number 16 for St. Clair. That'll be number 28 rather. Kara Dotzel is coming into the game.
Top of the 5th, still a few more innings for the Mountaineers. If they continue hitting the way they have, they can easily bring this back.
You have to be thinking though, they've come back, if they give up a couple of runs here, 3-4 runs, it's going to make it really tough because you already only have 3 more opportunities, 3 more offensive innings. You're really going to want a solid, clean defensive inning here.
You would love a quick 1-2-3 inning.
We'll see what happens. This Kara Dotzel goes for the bunt, but she'll take strike 1 instead. Lots of people thinking about bunts. We haven't seen one make contact yet, but everyone seems to want to get a bunt and get on base, especially when you're leading off, as Dotzel is here for her first at bat. Ball 1, the 1-1 count. And now the St. Clair bench coming alive, cheering on their freshman. It's her first appearance in the game. Ooh, and that's a strike swung on by Dotzel for the 1-2 count. Rachel Lee looking for her first strikeout. Rachel Lee 1-2 pitch coming up. And that one's hit foul as the at-bat will continue on.
Very early swing there as that ball caught a little bit too much plate, I think, for Lee's liking. So she's happy with that outcome.
Looks like Dotzel is eager, maybe a little excited here. Swinging quite early, as you said. Freshman. And that one's fouled off as well.
That's exactly the pitch I was thinking Lee would throw. We saw, a big swing and a miss. Then you saw that early foul off, throw one outside, try to get her to chase it. Nearly did.
We'll see if she comes back inside on the hands of Dotzel now. Maybe a little change up. And that is strike 3. Rachel Lee with a stellar at bat.
Great pitching. Probably some great calls there from the catcher, Lawrence.
But now Ada O'Mara, who has had a solid game so far on both sides of the ball. She's going to look to get something going here as she watches the first pitch ball. 1-0 count.
1 out already for the Mountaineers. Their 1-2-3 inning
is still intact as 0-2 is the count now. Rachel Lee not looking to give O'Mara too much to swing at. St. Clair being very loud.
A bit of jeering.
A little jeering there.
3-0 count. Lee's biggest struggles have been against righties, especially in favorable hitter counts.
And that one is going to. Oh, and that's real unfortunate. As the shortstop couldn't quite make the play, although it was hit well.
It was hit very
It
hard,
was hit
but
very hard.
credit Lee. I mean, in a 3-0 count, threw a very, very good pitch that only made it into a ground out.
And that was Renee Bork at shortstop, who just couldn't quite grab a hold of that. They're going to have to just forget about that one. As Chloe Cole is at the plate now. She's had a solid game at that. And that's ball one by Rachel Lee. And O'Mara just stole second base, as they're looking to capitalize on some base running themselves, as that one just got away from Renelle Bork behind the plate. Oh, that's a strike, as another bunt didn't quite make contact. Chloe Cole at the plate for St. Clair.
Pretty sure every single fake bunt from both sides has been a pitch down the middle that turns into a strike.
And speaking of pitches down the middle, that one is going to get runners on the corners. Chloe Cole's had a real solid game at bat, a lot of contact.
Now we got another big moment still. 1 out, so double play possibility could end the inning. Would end the inning.
Dana Juarez, who just came in the game as the pitcher, is at bat here, looking to make her mark. And a really good hit, but that is handled nicely. Very good. That is what they needed. A good catch out in right field.
Swing reminded me a lot of the Mountaineers swings in the beginning of the game that just ended up right at outfielders.
Yep, absolutely. That time Talia Henry had no problem with it, though.
She had to make that play, and the runner does not tag. So now there's 2 outs. And if you're able to get this out here, the inning's over, no runs allowed.
Strike one thrown, and second base stolen there by Chloe Cole. That's the second stolen base of the inning.
I like that decision, not even to worry about it and just try to worry in getting this last out.
She's already got a strikeout. And that it will have a runner safe at first. Ada O'Mara comes in. Chloe Cole's at third now. And that was almost the out that the Mountaineers needed, but O'Toole couldn't quite handle that. A little bit of a hopper down the third base line.
So now lefty, good matchup for Lee.
Judy LaFleur at the plate. Ball one thrown.
It's now 15-7 for St. Clair, but again, a great inning from the Mountaineers. Couple unlucky moments.
And this is, as you said, Rachel Lee's had better success against lefties, so she'll be looking to just handle this one without the ball getting into play. Ball two, though. And you know what? Second base stolen for the third time in the inning. I don't think that's even on Rachel Lee's mind. That might as well be on the moon as far as she's concerned. She just wants to get this one handled right here, just her and the batter. And that one dribbles out to second baseman. But she is caught out at first base.
Great pitches from
Great
Lee.
pitches.
I mean, that other ground out was hit just a bit too hard to be controlled for that final out, but that one, I mean,
I
great
had
pitch.
no problem with that. And that was Jazzy Martin making quick work of the ground ball as the Mountaineers, 1 run given up, but you know what? All around it's been getting better and better as it's gone on.
Was not obviously perfect. They did allow 1 run, but I'll tell you what, they're happy with that with the 2 runners on, and now
Absolutely.
the bats come back.
The bats come back. They were hot in the last inning as we head to the bottom of the 5th. If you're just joining us, it's 15-7 in favor of St. Clair. Just Mountaineers
Looking good.
looking good, looking a lot better. Gave up a bad 9-run first inning if you're just joining us, and they've worked their way slowly back into it. It is an 8-run deficit still after a 1-run 5th inning by St. Clair, but 5 runs from Mohawk in their last offensive inning, so are we looking to do more of the same?
And just a good sign. Obviously, these two teams will be playing each other again today. Good sign for the Mountaineers to be showing a lot of life and bringing this game back as close as they can.
Absolutely. Even like we've been saying, even if they don't come back and win this one, this is a real good show of mental fortitude from this Mohawk team. Zoe Lorenz leading off for the Mountaineers.
She had a single in her last at bat.
Kitchener, Ontario's own. And that's Juarez back at the plate. Or at the mound, rather. Lorenz just watches ball 1.
She threw a lot of balls, Juarez, in her first outing. Still got that strikeout and got the out she needed to, but
Yeah, a pop out and strikeout back-to-back rule got them out of a troubling inning. As ball 2 makes a 2-0 count.
St. Clair have had problems. The relief pitchers coming in haven't been able to. They seem a bit excited to come out. A lot of energy and
Obviously, Castle House had a real strong start, gave up a couple runs, but there's a good pitch from Morris. 2-1 is the count. Zoe Lorenz looking to get on base to lead off this inning. There we go. Another ball.
3-1 count. Hitters count right here.
Very favorable for Lorenz. And she gets caught swinging to make it a full count. 3-2 coming up as Juarez looks to retire her 3rd straight batter.
Second strikeout.
Second strikeout, leading the team in that category, as well as ERA and innings pitched. Very strong season so far. And that one's fouled off. Lorenz got lucky getting a chunk of that one, as that one was thrown real well, a bit of a riser. Lorenz, 3-2 count. And that'll be a walk. And that is a good start. Anybody
at
on
bat.
base is great.
Great at bat from Lorenz there. Seemed to struggle a bit with the pitches that were in the zone, but fouled it off, stayed alive, and took the ball.
Now Taylor McCrae had a big hit last inning, drove in a couple runs, and scored herself. And there's another bit of solid contact out to center field, but it's handled with ease by
Seemed to get under it just a little bit. Not a bad swing at all coming from McCrae.
And that's Judy LaFleur out in center field, having no trouble with that one. As Renelle Bork is at the plate. This was part of the lineup that had so much success in the last inning.
Had a single that scored a run, and, again, only 1 out. This is the same spot the Mountaineers were in the last inning with 1 out.
And another one popped out in our direction. 0-1 is the count. Juarez looking to stop any hopes. Oh, and that one's a bit wild, as Renelle Bork thought about stealing second base, but thought better of it in the end. 1-1 is your count. Juarez will look to snuff any hopes of a comeback as this game gets into its second half. Comes the pitch, and a big swing from Bork, but no dice as we go to 1-2.
Have to see if Lawrence does steal. Obviously, we saw that pitch in the dirt. She thought about it, but
A lot of steals this
from
game,
both teams.
both sides.
Ooh.
Oh, and we have a batter hit, and she will happily take that base. I don't think that was any sort of ill intent on Juarez's part. Just a bit of a
Pitch gone awry.
pitch gone awry as it caught the shoulder.
Work seems okay. She immediately ran to first base. I don't think she's obviously happy getting hit, but she'll be happy to get on
Take
base.
that base. And number 9, Kiera Stevens, who's had a very good game for Mohawk, is at the plate. Helped drive in a couple runs last inning.
2-run single.
And that one's just fouled off for the 0-1 count.
Another great inning from the Mountaineers so far. Some great at bats, and again, another chance to drive in some runs and cut the lead.
Juarez with the 0-1 pitch. And that one's called for a ball. 1-1 is your count.
Very, very impressed with the resilience of this young Mountaineers team and these great at bats that they're taking.
Absolutely. A lot of good play discipline. Good credit to the whole coaching staff. And Coach Chris McCall has been out there signaling some great base running, especially last inning. Got runners to steal several times. Kiera Stevens swung on a pitch high in the zone. 2-2 is the count. Juarez with 1 out, 2 runners on base, looks to strike out her second batter, and she does. Kiera Stevens with a big swing and miss, and you can see why Juarez has had so much success. She's had no trouble getting these Mountaineers batters to bite so far. Genevieve Fry is now at the plate.
Back to the top of the order. She had a double and an RBI in the last at bat, so see if she can do that again. You'd want to score some of these runs if you are the Mountaineers. Continue to put in doubt in the St. Clair Saints' minds.
And that's a solid bit of
Good job.
contact, and it dropped in the perfect spot as we have bases loaded. Genevieve Fry with another hit. And that is exactly what you wanted if you were the Mohawk Mountaineers.
Another bit of a check swing, except this one went in the air.
Made good contact, had a nice little pop, and just dropped far enough that the center fielder couldn't quite get underneath it.
Another chance.
Henry at
Bases
the
loaded.
plate. Bases loaded. Way outside there for Juarez.
Starting to feel like the Mountaineers, we talked about this after their big inning, the momentum slowly starting to shift.
It really has, and you can really see that they are looking to build on what they did last inning, and that's a strike 1, watched by Henry. Juarez with the 1-1 pitch, way inside. And Coombs thought about throwing that one to first base as there was a bit of a leadoff there.
Long pause.
Right,
Yeah.
the long pause time is called.
I don't think Henry enjoyed sitting there for that long.
No, no, it's a big moment for her. Bases loaded. If they get a couple runs in here, we got ourselves a softball game, that's for sure. And that is
It is.
exactly what you want. At least one. Yep. There you go.
And why not hold and give
Why
another
not?
chance at bases
Why
loaded?
not? Exactly. As Zoe Lorenz came in to score. Henry with a nice RBI single. Lupton is now at the plate.
It is now 15-8.
Back to a 7 run difference. Great resilience here. Juarez, who has had a good couple at bats, is struggling a little bit here as she hit a batter, walked another, and now a couple of hits in a row. Couple of singles. Strike one, though.
Both singles to the center fielder there.
2 outs, though, so there's an opportunity to get out of this relatively unscathed if you're St. Clair. And she watches ball one. Lupton didn't think much of that pitch.
And that'd be the goal for St. Clair here. You know, you get out of this inning only allowing 1 run after getting 1 back. But if you are
You'd
the
really be in a good spot. Yeah.
you would be.
Juarez with another ball. And she does not want to walk a runner home, that's for sure.
And that keeps the bases loaded here with 2 outs. Some great at bats from the Mountaineers, not showing any nerves or pressure as this game has gone on.
Absolutely not. And Lupton is going to hit that one right up to the shortstop, who handles it with ease. As that inning, as we said, St. Clair got out of that relatively unscathed, looked dangerous.
Unlucky for Lupton there. That ball was hit very hard. And it was hit right at the shortstop.
And it was Reese Grondin at shortstop making easy work of that hit as we go to the top of the 6th.
Still a ball game here. It's the Mountaineers down by 7, but not out of the game yet. They've had some great innings. A 5-run inning, one more of those, and you're right back into this game, as we've said.
Absolutely. 15-8 is the score of the ball game. If you're just joining us, Rachel Lee has been pitching since
End of the first.
end of the first. Solid so far.
It's only allowed 5 runs.
Only allowed 5 runs. Can't ask for much more than that. Well, 6 runs actually, with a run in the last inning.
I think if you told people after the first inning that in the end of all this, at least for now, St. Clair would have used more pitchers than the Mountaineers.
Would have been surprised. I think if you told people we make it to this point of the game, they'd be surprised. It was looking like it was going to be absolute domination, and we were talking about trying to figure out the mercy rule, and lo and behold, this Mountaineers team, surprising everybody, making a real game out of it. Still a big deficit, but not over by any stretch of the imagination with the way it's gone the last few innings. You would have liked to maybe see 2 or 3 runs in the bottom of that 5th, but scoring nonetheless is always a good thing, even if it's just the 1 run. They had batters in scoring position, left stranded with the bases loaded, but
You want another good inning here from the Mountaineers. Allowing 1 run or less would be.
But Catherine Coombs, who has had 2 home runs for St. Clair, is at the plate. This has not been a favorable matchup for Rachel. She chops one out to third. O'Toole. And they don't quite. That throw from O'Toole
Just
was
to the
not
side.
quite on target, as Taylor McCrae at first base had to really extend to get there. She had to take her foot off the bag. And Coombs continues a really good game.
Give effort to McCrae there. Tried to tag her on the way back, but just couldn't get her.
Couldn't quite make it. Strike one, caught the inside of the strike zone there. Ashley Marchand at the plate for St. Clair. 0-1 is the count with the pitch from Lee. And that one is off the glove. And unfortunately, that's not the first time we've seen a ball hit the glove of Rachel Lee and not be caught. She's pitched a solid game, but a couple of miscues defensively. Obviously, those balls coming out hot, difficult to handle, but you'd like to see maybe a little bit cleaner fielding from her.
Seen that a few times from both teams in this game. Go off, hit pitchers, go off their gloves.
And that one hit really well. Oh, and that one's going to go off our center fielder and out as number 17, Reese Grondin, gets a 3-run home run. And that, unfortunately, is a tough, tough break for Mohawk. Julie LaFleur almost got a hold of that one, but ends up knocking it out And a 3-run shot from Grondon is going to make this one a tough deficit, as we're now looking at a score of 18-8. We're back to a 10-run deficit. Rachel Lee's looking to recover. A swing and a miss from Kara Dotzel, who struck out in her first at bat. Freshman looking to bounce back.
Unlucky for the center fielder there. Got a glove on it, but it just sailed.
And that one pops out. And that time, Rachel Lee has no trouble with that. Retires Dotzel for the second time in the game. But Ada O'Mara coming in. One of their star players. Ball one. Rachel Lee. You know, she's given up a few shots. I mean, it's been the home runs that have burned her, not necessarily the singles and doubles, but it's been the big shots. So we get ball 2, 2-0 count. Rachel Lee, if you take out those plays, obviously, if you know, ifs and buts, but it hasn't been a horrible game for her.
No, it's been the problems for the Mountaineers.
And that's a hard shot. Out. Just dribbled past Jazzy Martin at second base.
That has been the problem for the Mountaineers in the Humber series as well, was the long balls. A grand slam and a 2-run home run that turned around the first game that gave the Hawks their first lead.
And it's just, you know, that's a big momentum killer. When you're playing so well, you're finally getting yourself back into the game and you let up a big 3-run homer like that. It's tough to come back from, but they've shown resilience throughout the game. So this is far from over with Chloe Cole at the plate. Ball thrown there, way outside. Chloe Cole's had a couple of good hits this game, putting runners in scoring position.
She also struck out in her last at bat, as well as having, as you said, doubles and a single.
And that's a strike. Caught the inside corner of the zone there. Solid pitch. Rachel Lee. St. Clair's really getting into it now with a high pop-up. And Jazzy Martin is there to deal with that. Nicely done. Actually, that was Pierre Stevens out at second base. Dana Juarez, the pitcher, in, and she makes good contact. She will get a nice single there. Looks like Rachel Lee wants a bit of a discussion here with Renelle Bork behind the mound. And Dwayne Dawson will chat with his batter as well, as they bring in a pinch hitter here for Juarez as Chloe Cole. Pinch runner, yeah, excuse me. Comes in and
Must be trying to steal, but they also have a runner on second, but it surely is a steal.
maybe just trying to save
Situation.
Juarez's stamina as they will have an opportunity to close out the game. Coming up. Jane Foreman at the plate. Fouled that one off. Jane Foreman watched that one. go high and out of the zone. And I think Ada O'Mara is thinking about stealing that base. As Piers Stevens came over and kept an eye on her.
Very good.
Sounded like she got a chunk of that one, but strike thrown.
Lee's throwing a lot of strikes, quite the opposite of the St. Clair Saints pitcher. She's
Mm.
gone at them and not a lot of balls thrown.
It is now or never, so that one is into the hands of Pierre Stevens, and that will round out the 5th inning. The top of it, anyway, is there was a big 3-run home run, extending the lead 18-8 for St. Clair.
Back to 10 now.
Back to 10. As Mohawk is going to need another big inning if they want a chance at this. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Reese Grondin had the big shot for St. Clair in that inning.
Still now heading to bottom of the 6th. One more inning after this, so they technically have, 6 chances left. 6 at bats at least.
Juarez back on the mound. 3rd St. Clair pitcher in action today. We had Castle Haas opening with a few good innings. She took a bit of a line drive to the knee. Seemed to be okay, but was taken out of the game shortly after. And then Kiesling came in, the rookie. Had a tough go of it, giving up 5 runs. And Juarez since has only given up 1 in her inning and a half or so she's played. St. Clair looking to extend their streak to, or their record, I should say, to 5-2 on the year.
Pitcher match over here.
Pitcher. Rachel Lee's really been on a good performance. Despite the home run she's given up on the other side, she's had some decent at-bats, walked, gotten on base, to look through more of the same. And that one is a bit wild. Ball 1. Rachel Lee looking at a 1-0 count. And tried to check her swing, but that one's going to be called for strike 1. 1-1 is your count. One pitch from Juarez. Ball. Juarez maybe not agreeing with that call, but seemed to just miss the strike zone on the inside of Lee. 2-1's the count. Make it 3-1. That one's low and outside. Rachel Lee's been walked 4. Would not mind getting on base to lead off this do or die inning for Mohawk. And that was another check swing that's called for a strike. We have a full count 3-2.
Mountaineers have had problems against Juarez's pitches that have gone in the zone. They have not been able to catch up to him just yet.
They've been lucky when they've gotten some balls, but
Fouled back.
that one's fouled back. At bat goes on.
Juarez definitely feeling a bit of fatigue. We've seen a lot of balls, a lot of walks.
She's had some long at bats. Not played a whole lot of the game, but what she has played, as another one's fouled back by Lee, has been, full counts, 4 or 5 pitch counts, a lot of balls fouled off. So She's already, getting deep into her pitch count after only an inning and a half. And that one is swung on. Rachel Lee missed. And Juarez gets another strikeout.
Not a bad at bat at all. Just not able to make contact on that last pitch.
Katie O'Toole struck out on her first at bat an inning and a bit ago as she came in as a pinch hitter. Juarez caught her swinging to end the bottom of the fourth. And now she will just chop that one in the direction of Juarez, who will make quick work of it out to first base, where Ada O'Mara handled it well. Zoe Lawrence at the plate.
With it being a 10-run lead here for St. Clair, I believe this is their Mohawks' last batter.
See if the Forest Heights Collegiate Institute product and Zoe Lawrence can make something happen here, if this is a do or die situation. One high and outside. Juarez with the pitch. Similar spot, out and up. Another ball. You like to see the plate discipline from these Mohawk players, even with their backs up against the walls. They have been all game. They really haven't been swinging at too much. We got a 3-0 count here. Lawrence would like to get on base with a walk, but she fouls that one way off.
Yeah, they've only struck out twice, so they've been taking any pitch that they can. It'll just be about turning on the pitches that they like.
And when they have found success, like their 5-run inning, it was getting players on anyway with walks, with beating out a couple of ground balls. They haven't found the huge plays yet, but when they found success, it's been sort of little pieces at a time building to better things. So if they're going to finish out this game well, they're going to look to do more of that as that one goes out to O'Mara. No problem there. And that will be the end of the inning. Not much going. Juarez had a solid outing there. Looks like there's some discussions between Chris McConnell and the umpires about timing here, as
It's about the mercy rule here.
and that should just about wrap up the game, I believe,
Yep.
as both teams seem to be.
Final score 18-8.
18-8.
Seems like the long ball again killed the Mountaineers. In
It
this
did.
one.
It did. They had a really solid inning with 5 runs. Mohawk chipped away, made the score 14-7, but Katie Coombs she had 2 home runs, and then Reese Grondin with a 3-shot one in the 5th. Really, that was the nail in the coffin. Overall, Mohawk recovered well from a devastating 9-run first inning, but it was just too much to overcome in the end.
Yeah.
And they'll look to bounce back in the second game. What did you think, Harrison, overall?
They have a lot of positives to build off. Obviously, the bad start in the first inning. I mean, you forget about that inning, and this game's probably they lose by 2 or 3 runs. If they still lose, if they're not able to come back. So look at the positives, try to get off to a better start and, try to get some home runs. We haven't seen home runs yet from this Mountaineer squad.
Not a lot of long balls from the Mountaineers, but like you said, we got one more game coming up shortly. And thank you for tuning in. We will be back with game 2 between Mohawk and St. Clair. Thank you very much.